I wasn't supposed to be working that night. Channel 8 had already laid off half the overnight crew. Local news doesn't pull views anymore unless something's on fire or falling from the sky. But I needed the extra shift. It was January, cold enough that the wind between buildings felt like something alive. I'd taken the subway in just before midnight. Nearly empty car, the kind where every sound echoes, coughs, shoe scuffs, the metallic whine of the tracks. The station near the studio was almost silent. I remember thinking how quiet the city felt, like it was holding its breath. Channel 8 operates out of an old brick building, wedged between a pharmacy and a shuttered gym. The lobby smells like burnt coffee and dust, the kind of place that used to matter. I work in master control. Basically, I babysit the signal. If something goes wrong, audio drops, graphics glitch, emergency feed override, I fix it before viewers notice. That night was supposed to be simple. Replays, weather loop, a pre-recorded segment about rising rent prices. Nothing live, nothing risky. At 1:13 a.m., I was alone in the control room. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, monitors casting blue light across the walls. The live feed on screen 3 showed our standard overnight rotation. City skyline cam, slow pan, faint traffic in the distance. Everything normal. Then screen 4 turned black. No warning, no transition, just black. At first, I thought it was a routing error. I tapped the console, checked the signal log. No disruption recorded. No drop in feed. According to the system, the camera was still broadcasting, but the screen was completely black. Then the audio meter started moving, very slightly, like something was picking up sound. Low, soft, scraping. I leaned closer to the speakers. It sounded like fabric dragging across concrete. Slow, rhythmic. I checked which camera was assigned to screen 4. It was Studio B. We don't use Studio B anymore. It's sealed. Has been for years. Old equipment, flood damage from a burst pipe back in 2022. Management never fixed it. No power should have been running to it. Yet the system showed it was live, broadcasting. I pulled up the internal camera feed, static at first, then the image flickered in. Dim emergency lighting, dust floating in the air. Camera pointed toward the center of the empty studio, and something was moving. It wasn't clear. At first, I thought it was a shadow from the light swinging overhead, but the light wasn't moving. The shadow was. It stretched across the floor. Too tall, too narrow. It moved in a way that didn't match any physical object in the room. My heart started thudding. I checked the timestamp on the internal camera. 1:17 a.m. Accurate, real time. The shadow stopped, centered itself directly beneath the old anchor desk. Then the feed cut, not to black, to our broadcast slate, the one we use before a live show. Red background, Channel 8 logo. Standby. I did not trigger that. And then, the live indicator turned on. We were broadcasting something on air at 1:18 a.m. without authorization. I tried to override the feed. The system locked me out. Every button I pressed gave me a soft error tone, like the console wasn't connected to me anymore. Then the slate faded, and Studio B appeared, fully lit, clean, not abandoned, like it had never flooded, like it was brand new. The anchor desk was restored, microphones placed neatly on top, and someone was sitting behind it. He looked exactly like me. Same hoodie, same stubble, same tired eyes, except he was smiling. "Good evening," he said calmly into the camera. His voice was mine, perfectly synced. "Tonight's broadcast is a special message." My throat went dry. I wasn't speaking, but the audio in the room matched my breathing, matched my tone, matched the subtle rasp in my voice. He leaned forward, looked directly into the lens. "Some signals don't come from where you think they do." Behind him, the studio lights flickered. The shadow returned, standing just out of frame, too tall, its head almost brushing the rigging above. I tried to kill power to Studio B entirely, pulled up breaker access, System denied. Access restricted. By whom? There was no one else in the building. I checked the hallway cameras. Empty. Except one feed showed something I didn't recognize. The corridor outside master control, and standing at the far end, was someone in my hoodie, facing the camera, not moving. The broadcast continued. My double turned slightly, as if listening to something off-screen. Then he smiled wider. "Viewers at home," he said, "if you're watching this, stay tuned." The screen glitched. Horizontal distortion. Then a different angle appeared. Not Studio B. My apartment. My living room. Lights off. Window facing the street. And someone standing inside, watching the camera. I froze. That was live. That was happening now. My apartment is 3 subway stops from the studio. I had locked the door before leaving. The figure inside stepped closer to the window, streetlight illuminating just enough of its face. It was me, but not right. The smile was too stretched, the eyes too dark, like the pupils had swallowed everything. The live broadcast ticker at the bottom changed. We don't run tickers overnight, but one appeared, white text scrolling across red. Signal acquired. The speakers in the control room crackled. Then I heard something behind me, a soft footstep. I turned. The hallway outside master control was dark, but the motion sensor light at the end flicked on, slowly, as if triggered by something tall passing through. On screen 4, my double leaned in closer. "You shouldn't have answered the signal." I don't remember answering anything. I don't remember opting in. But the system log showed something new. An incoming transmission at 1:12 a.m. Accepted automatically. Source: unknown. The hallway camera outside master control glitched, then showed something impossible. The figure at the end of the corridor was walking toward the camera, but its movement lagged, like the footage was half a second behind reality. Its limbs stretched slightly too far with each step. Its shadow didn't match its body. I locked the control room door, heart hammering. The broadcast audio grew louder, not just from the speakers, from the walls, as if the building itself was carrying the signal. Okay, the live feed cut again. Back to Studio B. Now empty, chair spinning slowly, microphone fallen over, and something written on the desk in black marker. Switch. The control room lights flickered. The hallway camera outside went black. Then the door handle behind me turned, slowly. And the broadcast switched again, to a camera angle I recognized instantly. It was from inside master control, facing me. And in the frame, standing behind my chair, was the tall shadow. Cut to static. The static didn't last long, maybe 3 seconds. But in those 3 seconds, I didn't move. I couldn't. On screen 4, the feed returned, still inside master control, still showing me sitting in the chair. But the angle was wrong. Too high, too wide, like the camera was mounted in the ceiling corner. There is no camera in the ceiling corner. The shadow behind me leaned closer. Its outline shimmered slightly, like interference. I didn't feel breath on my neck, didn't feel air shift, but on the monitor, its head tilted, slow, curious, studying me. The audio meter spiked. Then I heard it, not from the speakers, from directly behind me. A whisper, soft, almost affectionate. Switch! I spun around. Nothing there. Empty air. The control room smelled faintly metallic, like overheated wiring. On the screen, though, the shadow hadn't disappeared. It was still behind my seated body. Only now, the version of me in the chair wasn't reacting. He just stared forward, calm, hands resting neatly on the console, like he belonged there. My phone vibrated, almost made me scream. Unknown number. No caller ID, just a video file incoming. I didn't want to open it, but it opened itself. The video was recorded from inside my apartment. Timestamp 1:27 a.m. That was 5 minutes in the future. The clip showed my living room, dark, still. Then the bedroom door opened slowly, and I walked out. Not current me, future me, face blank, movements stiff. I walked to the couch, sat down, turned toward the camera, and smiled. The video ended. My hands were shaking now. I checked the time. 1:22 a.m., 5 minutes before the timestamp. 5 minutes before I apparently leave the station. On the broadcast feed, my double stood up from the anchor desk in Studio B. Camera tracked him perfectly, like a professional production. He stepped toward the lens. "So here's how this works," he said, his voice layered over mine. Slight echo. "You keep the signal open, and you go home." Behind him, the tall shadow filled the entire studio wall, towering, its head nearly scraping the ceiling rig. "But if you cut the feed," he smiled wider. The studio lights dimmed. "The signal stays." The hallway outside master control echoed with another footstep. Closer now. The door handle rattled once, softly, testing. I tried calling the station manager. No signal. My phone displayed no service. In the middle of Manhattan, at 1:23 a.m. Impossible. Screen 2 flickered. Switched to another feed. The subway platform near the studio. Empty, except one figure standing at the edge, wearing my hoodie, looking down at the tracks. The broadcast ticker changed again. Transfer window open. The control console finally responded to my touch. One button lit up. Bright red. Master switch. If I hit it, the entire station would go dark. Emergency shutdown. Full signal loss. FCC nightmare. Career ending. But maybe signal ending. The whisper returned, this time from the speakers, clearer. "You've already answered." The video on my phone refreshed. New timestamp, 1:24 a.m. Future me now standing inside the subway car. Doors closing. No other passengers. The reflection in the window behind him wasn't matching. It was still sitting in master control. My chest felt tight, like the air pressure had changed. On screen 4, the shadow behind seated me placed a long arm on his shoulder. Its fingers were too thin, too many joints. Seated me didn't react, just stared into nothing. Waiting. The hallway camera flickered back on. The corridor was empty, but the emergency exit sign at the end was blinking. On, off, on, off. With each blink, something stood closer to the camera. Not walking, not moving, just appearing closer. I looked back at screen 4. The shadow was gone. The chair behind seated me was empty. Then slowly, seated me turned his head. Not toward the broadcast camera, toward me, through the monitor. His lips moved. No audio, just silent words. But I could read them. "You're late." The clock on the wall ticked to 1:25 a.m., the same time from the future video. My phone vibrated again. New clip, this time from inside master control. Timestamp 1:25 a.m. The video showed me standing up, walking toward the door, unlocking it, letting something in. I looked at the door. It was still locked, but the handle was turning slowly, methodically, like someone was waiting for permission. The whisper came again, not behind me, not from the speakers, from inside my head. "You can't run from your own signal." The broadcast cut to a final shot. Studio B, anchor desk empty, but on the back wall written in light, like letters formed from flickering pixels. "Sync complete." The master switch button started blinking. Faster, faster, faster. Like a heartbeat. The hallway camera went black again. The door stopped rattling. Everything went silent. Completely silent. No fluorescent hum, no city noise, no system buzz. Just my breathing. And then, knock. 3 slow knocks from inside the control room. I didn't turn around because I already knew. If I did, I wouldn't be the one in the chair anymore. The knock didn't repeat. It didn't need to, because I knew exactly where it came from. Not the hallway, not the door. From behind me, inside the room. Slowly, I looked at screen 4, the master control feed. The camera angle was wrong again, higher, wider, and now there were 2 chairs in the room, one empty, one occupied. The occupied chair faced the monitor wall. The figure sitting there was still, hands resting on the console, posture identical to mine. Only difference: the head was tilted slightly too far to the side, like something inside the neck wasn't aligned properly. I didn't move, didn't breathe, because on the screen, the empty chair began sliding backward, slowly, across the floor, as if someone unseen had just stood up from it. The room around me felt heavier, like the air pressure had dropped. My ears popped softly. And then, the whisper wasn't a whisper anymore. It was layered, multiple versions of my own voice speaking at once. You stayed. You watched. You kept it live. Screen 1 flickered. The live broadcast returned. But this time, the screen showed me, from a camera I didn't know existed, standing behind myself. I froze, because on screen 1, the version of me behind the chair leaned closer to seated me, and gently, very gently, placed both hands on his shoulders. I felt it, cold, real, fingers pressing into my jacket. Right now, in this room. My reflection in the blackened monitor glass didn't match my posture. My shoulders were still, but the reflection's shoulders were slightly raised, as if someone was standing behind it, holding it in place. The phone vibrated again. No sound, just movement. New clip. Timestamp, 1:27 a.m. It showed the hallway outside master control. The door opening, me stepping out. Only. The face was wrong. Expression blank. Eyes too focused. Like I wasn't seeing the world, just processing it. On the broadcast feed, Studio B was back. Lights dim, anchor desk empty, but the camera slowly panned toward the far corner of the studio, where something stood, tall, elongated, its outline flickering between static and shape, and beside it, another version of me, standing still, waiting. The ticker at the bottom of the screen updated again. Primary signal archived. The master switch button stopped blinking. Solid red now. Steady. Calm. Like the decision had already been made. Behind me, the pressure on my shoulders increased. Not painful, just certain. The layered voice spoke again. You're not being replaced. You're being synchronized. Screen 4 showed the control room from above. Now clearly, 2 figures, one seated, one standing directly behind. But the seated one wasn't reacting, wasn't blinking, wasn't breathing. I felt my jaw move slightly, unwillingly, like my face was testing a new expression. On the monitor, the standing version of me leaned forward until his mouth was inches from the seated one's ear. And then, the seated version turned, looked directly into the ceiling camera, and smiled. The lights in the real control room flickered once, twice, then stabilized. The pressure on my shoulders disappeared. I didn't turn around, because something inside me already understood. The version standing behind me wasn't there anymore. Slowly, very slowly. I looked back at the monitors. Screen 4 now showed only one chair, one person, sitting calmly at the console, hands steady, breathing normal, face relaxed. But the angle wasn't from above anymore. It was from behind, from the doorway, as if someone had just stepped out. The hallway camera reactivated. Empty corridor, exit sign glowing steady. No flicker, no shadow. My phone screen lit up. No notification this time, just a lock screen preview from the Channel 8 app. It read, Live feed, 24 hours continuous. I looked at the broadcast clock, 1:32 a.m. The program schedule below it read, Overnight test pattern, but the test pattern wasn't on screen. Instead, it was me, sitting in master control, staring forward, calm, collected, hands resting on the console, exactly how I'd been sitting for the last 15 minutes. Except the broadcast version blinked, and I didn't. The studio phone rang, sharp, sudden, echoing through the quiet building. Caller ID, Channel 8 control, internal line. I answered. There was no static, no distortion, just my voice, clear, confident, slightly amused. You can go home now. The line disconnected. I stood up, or maybe I felt like I stood up, because the movement felt distant, like watching myself move from half a second behind. I walked to the door, unlocked it, stepped into the hallway. The security camera above the door followed me, red light blinking, recording. When I glanced at the live feed on my phone, the control room chair was still occupied. Someone was still sitting there, watching the monitors, keeping the signal open. I didn't go back. I walked past Studio B, past the anchor desk, past the darkened editing bays, and as I passed the main broadcast monitor in the lobby, I saw the overnight program still running. Just a single shot from inside master control, the chair, the screens, the glow of equipment, and the back of a person's head. He turned slightly, just enough for me to see the side of his face. It was mine, but calmer, more settled, like he'd been there longer. The lobby lights buzzed overhead. The exit doors slid open automatically. Cold night air hit my face, and the city felt normal. Traffic humming in the distance, subway rumbling beneath the pavement. Everything real, everything ordinary. My phone vibrated one last time, a notification from the Channel 8 app. Viewers 1. I opened the live feed, the control room, the chair, the monitors, the back of my head, and in the reflection of one dark monitor, a tall shadow stood behind him, waiting. The viewer count changed. Viewers 2. I closed the app, but the notification didn't disappear. It just changed. Primary signal stable. I haven't gone back to the station. No one has called. No missing persons report. No termination email. No news. Channel 8 is still broadcasting overnight. Every night, same shot, same chair, same back of my head. And if you stay on the stream long enough, if you watch past the static, past the silence, past the hum, you'll notice something. The figure in the chair doesn't blink at the same time twice. Sometimes he looks like he's about to stand. And sometimes he tilts his head slightly, like he can see you. The live viewer count always stays at 2. I've checked every night, 1:27 a.m. It never drops below 2. If you ever come across the Channel 8 overnight feed, don't watch too long. Don't leave it open. Don't let it buffer, because the broadcast doesn't replace you. It archives you. It syncs you. It keeps one version running and lets the other walk away. And if you're alone when you're watching, check the reflection in your screen, because sometimes the signal has already found you. Have you ever stayed up watching something you weren't supposed to? Did you ever feel like it was watching back? Because if you have, you might already be counted. And if your viewer number says 2, don't turn around.